everyone. So I am here to do my 32-week update. So technically this is weeks 29 to 32. It's been 4 weeks since I did a video, and I did actually record one 2 weeks ago, but then I just never managed to get it put together and uploaded because life just got a little bit crazy, and then there was more that I wanted to include in an update. So anyway, but I'm here now. So today I am 32 weeks and 3 days. It's Thursday, and I will try to make this as concise as possible to include the last 4 weeks. So at 32 weeks, according to my photo app that I use to add information to my belly shots, the baby is the size of a honeydew. It's always hard because of there's obviously no perfect fruit or vegetable that is really the size of the baby, so it's like, all right, is that based on weight? Is that based on going from end to end? Whatever. But a honeydew is getting kind of big, and I definitely am feeling that. So looking back at the last 4 weeks, I had a prenatal appointment when I was 30 weeks. I think it was when I had just turned 30 weeks, so 2 weeks ago. And everything was good there. Really not much to report. I didn't really have any questions. I was measuring right where I should be, and the heart rate was good, right around 150, which is generally where it is. And yeah, everything looked good. The results of my home glucose testing had all been taken care of and everything, and I can't remember if I reported the final results, but everything was fine. So I did the 2 weeks of that, and the first week was a little messed up, which I talked about before, but then the second week was all totally fine, and my my blood sugar levels were great, so I'm all good with that. And the next thing that will happen is at 36 weeks, I'll have the Group B strap test done, which I do plan on having that test done. And the way that it worked out, my next appointment is the day that I turn 35 weeks, so I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead and just do it then, or if they'll wait the extra week. I know that the results are only good for, I think, 5 weeks, so without them having to redo it. And I don't expect that I'm going to have this baby early, so I hope that they will wait and maybe do it at 37 weeks, or even just have me come back the following week. They're still having me come every 4-ish weeks, which I'm glad about, that it's not just, they don't just see it as standard that at a certain number of weeks you switch over every other week, because it's kind of a lot, and there's really not much going on, and I don't have a lot of questions. So it would just be kind of a lot of time spent going for these checkups that last about 5 minutes. The only other thing was that when they first took my blood pressure, when I got into the room, it was a little bit high for me, but then the midwife took it when she came in, and it was fine. So I think it's just if I've just walked down the hall into the room and just sat down, then it hasn't kind of settled because my blood pressure does kind of fluctuate with me getting up and down and stuff like that, and that's just my normal. So that was all good, and I go back at 35 weeks, so that's 3 weeks away, or a little less than 3 weeks away. And let's see what else. Symptom wise, for these past 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, nothing hugely different. Definitely feeling big, and having a little more trouble sleeping and getting comfortable, and sitting on the couch is kind of, it's just hard to find comfortable positions, which is totally normal. And getting a little short of breath, and going upstairs is getting a little bit more difficult. So all of that kind of stuff. The other eventful thing that has happened is that 2 weeks ago tomorrow, so not quite 2 weeks ago, I was at an acupuncture appointment, and it was a great appointment. Like, I was super relaxed afterwards, which was actually probably part of the problem. I was leaving and walking down the stairs, and I missed the last step and ended up falling and spraining my ankle pretty badly. So I managed to get myself home, which was a struggle. It was my left ankle, so thankfully I was still able to drive. And got home, was in a ton of pain. It was like 6 o'clock at night, so it was like almost Lex's bedtime, but we considered packing everyone up and going to the emergency room because I was in so much pain. But eventually, just sitting and having it elevated and putting some ice on it, it calmed down enough so that I was able to handle it. And so we didn't go to the emergency room. And I just kind of waited it out to see if it would get better. And I wasn't able to put any weight on it, and it was really painful and swelled up quite a bit. So that was the day that it happened, was the day before Christmas Eve. So then I kind of just managed with it over the weekend. Eric went out on Christmas Day and got me a pair of crutches. He went out, I can't remember if he went out the night that I heard it or if he went out the next day to get me like an ace bandage and a splint and stuff like that, or a brace. But anyway, so I managed with it over the weekend, and then it still wasn't really improving. Like, it was a little bit better, but I was not able to put weight on it, and it was just really painful. So on that Monday, the day after Christmas, I went to urgent care and got it checked out, and they took some x-rays. They like double shielded me since I'm pregnant, and took some x-rays, and it was not broken, just a really bad sprain. So I just kind of continued what I had been doing, and kind of the next day it turned a corner a little bit, and I've been able to walk around on it. I still have to have it either wrapped in the ace bandage or have the brace on it most of the time when I'm walking around, but it is definitely getting better. The top of my foot is still kind of swollen, and the sides of my ankle still hurt if I like touch them or put pressure on them, but it's definitely getting better. I do not recommend getting injured while pregnant, especially this far along. It has been quite challenging to deal with an injury like that, and like, I was crawling around on the floor for a couple of days. It's just been difficult. My husband had to work from home for a couple of days after Christmas, like when I wasn't sure how I was going to manage taking care of our son and taking care of myself. So it was just been an extra challenge, and I'm just hoping that it continues to improve, and that certainly by the time I'm in labor and giving birth, that it will be totally healed and better, so that I don't have to worry about dealing with that on top of having a newborn and all that. So that's a little bit of an eventfulness. And then on Christmas Day, we were supposed to go down to my parents, and Lex ended up waking up that morning early in the morning with a fever, and so we ended up staying home. But and Lex was like, he was sick that day. He had a fever and stuff that day, and then he was totally fine the next day. So don't really know what that was about, but we've certainly gone through a bit of illness and injury and stuff like that. So hopefully it'll calm down now for a little while. So yeah, that's kind of the condensed version of of these past 4 weeks. Tons of movement. Just like, I can tell that this baby is getting bigger, which obviously is what's supposed to be happening, but I know that it gets more uncomfortable as you get towards the end, and I'm not at the point yet where I'm like, I'm done being pregnant, I can't handle this anymore, but considering that I'm still 8 weeks away from my due date, and that I am preparing myself for going past my due date, I can tell that the last bit of the pregnancy is probably going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and I'm gonna be ready to be done. I do have some baby buys that I got for Christmas. Basically, like, I bought for the baby for Christmas and put in a stocking. But I'm not going to share that today because this is already kind of long. So I may do like a separate video with a bunch of baby buys because I do have some other stuff, odds and ends. And I have a baby sprinkle coming up on the 21st. So I'm sure I'll be getting more stuff then. So I may just wait and do a little bit of a separate video after that. Right now I have my first load of newborn cloth diapers in the wash prepping. I have a bunch that I used with my son, and I have a bunch that I have bought, used secondhand, all in good condition and everything, but they've already been mostly prepped. So I'm just kind of trying to prep the ones that are going to take multiple washes to be ready, so that I can just like throw in a load here and there when I have time, since it is gonna get down to the end pretty quickly here. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I will include all of the belly shots from my last video at the end here, and I will talk to you again soon.